I'm Jessica with Gold Rush Expeditions, and today we're surveying the Protector Mine. We are in Sierra County, New Mexico, and I have to say the road out here was beautiful. It was just graded.
We are super remote out here. You should plan that you're going to take about an hour to an hour and a half on a rough dirt road to get out here.
I know for a fact that we've got 2 shafts and 2 adits. Here is where our adit was. It had a nice door on it, and then you can see it went back in this direction. Now, I do not think this was a purposeful collapse. I think this was a natural collapse. Reason being, you can see how soft and conglomerate the top layers of dirt are, and with any sort of weather, it'll just kind of wash this away. So I'm showing you some of the ore that if I were going to mine this, I would start looking and taking samples of. I like it, 1, because it's very heavy. 2, it's got a lot of quartz and dark mineralization, which is usually where you're going to find your metals that you actually want to be mining. So based on the size of the dumps, there's not a lot of them, which tells me this was probably worked by a small group of miners. The adits are probably maybe a couple hundred feet. It's possible that this lower adit was just a haulage tunnel, would be my guess. I think that that shaft right above it definitely connects, and I would assume the top one as well, because I see no way that they were getting the ores from the mine all the way up there down here without some sort of haulage tunnel. This is the shaft we were talking about. So this wood cribbing goes down about 15 feet, and that's where they hit the hard rock. And I imagine they did that because they didn't want all this soft and loose rock and dirt falling down inside their shaft. And the way that they've done it, it's made it so this shaft is so clean and so open. I would not recommend using this ladder. It's a little old, but you would easily be able to get down here with the proper equipment.
The other piece that's interesting, we've got our protector mines right up here on the hill where they mine gold, silver. They came right down. All through that, we have a wash. That wash is all little sands, and it runs down pretty close to the bedrock, and it runs in with this interesting limestone that is full of pock marks and holes. Now this wash comes and runs all the way down. You can kind of see right behind me where all of this is just sand that is just washed. So pretty much everything you're looking at is washed. That is all potential material for you to start playing with if you want to pan, if you want to do whatever else.
This right here is just outside of our adit, and this would have been a blacksmith shop. Now I know that because of this right here. This is where the anvil would have sat. It's pretty typical that a mine like this would have had a blacksmith shop, because anything that would have needed to be repaired would have been able to come right out of the mine, be repaired, and go right back in. So they would have been coming out of the adit, dumping the waste here, fixing anything that needed fixed, and continuing on with their work.
So what you've got here is an example of something that you usually don't find very much, and that's a house that's in really good condition. This is probably because we are so far out here that a lot of people don't get out here to destroy things. It's super cool to look at. The history is super cool. What this house was, it was associated with the mine, I would bet money. One of the interesting things to point out here is that it hasn't really been mangled or destroyed because there's not a lot of people. So when you're out and about and you find cool things like this, they're super cool to look at, they're super cool to explore. You really don't need to shoot a window, you don't need to throw a rock, because it just detracts from what's here, and bit by bit this is falling apart. So opening up a window just makes it all that easier for more elements to get in and for it to rot away. So let's take a look. For all of you gun haters that are going to make some comment about, hey, why do you have a gun? If you've spent any time in the backcountry, you know there's weird random things out here, and you can never be too careful. So if you think that you're as fast as somebody else with a gun with your fists, you're stupid and you've never been in the backcountry. And if you think you're as fast as a bear, whatever, that's why we have guns. Your build date, I would ballpark, you're probably in the 1920s, 1930s at the latest. I'm basing that off some of your window frames. This is really too bad. You can see this was locked up. Somebody showed what a badass they were. They kicked that door. They showed it who's boss. They destroyed the out of that door. Whoever did that is kind of a piece of shit. I don't know. Now, if there's a house, if there's a barn, if there's 40 cars and 3 chickens on the land, it doesn't mean that it's yours. Now, you can work with the land manager to like preserve something like this. Like you could get your permits in place, do your mining, and be like, hey, there's a super cool historic house. Could we work together and maybe do something to restore it and make it something that people could look at, make it cool? Yeah, that could probably happen. If you have the idea of like, hey, I'm gonna come out here and live in this house and this is gonna be my getaway, then don't buy a mining claim. That's not what you want. You want property and you want something else. So don't buy it because you're like, hey, that's a super cool house on the mining claim. It is a super cool house, but you have no rights to it. When we were first looking at this, I thought for sure that this was gonna be some sort of mill remnants. I don't believe that's the case at all. I think this was probably an actual extra building. Maybe it was cold storage, maybe it was stables, because you can see we had an extra piece sitting out here with a little roof over it. You got some built up walls there. Yeah, some other really super cool stuff. So I'm just gonna say one final thing on finding things out in the wild and about and wherever. So even something that you think is ridiculous, like this couch, somebody that's never seen a couch like this, that's gonna look super old to them, and that's gonna be super intriguing and super interesting. So when you're out and you see these things, don't destroy them, don't make a mess of anything. When you see the graffiti, whatever, these are all things that 100 years from now are gonna be super cool. And if you leave them and don't destroy them, somebody else will be able to enjoy them. All right, so this is pretty incredible. So you can see all the windows in there, screens. This goes down. Somebody has made an entire house, like when I say house, like it goes down into the cave rock, and they have painted everything. There's cabinets in there. If I ballpark this, probably somebody got booted out of here in the last 10 years that was living here illegally. Really intact house, new lock on the door. This, like smoker, like if somebody's living here, would be probably clean. Right now it's got bird nests and things in it, which tell me it hasn't been used in a couple of years. Series of natural caves here. And they've like carved out little spots, like there's a little mattress in the back of one. And you can see where they've been digging up, but it's all just, well, right here you can see just the natural limestone where it started to break away is what's made the little chasms. And yeah, they've just naturally picked away at them bit by bit. It's super interesting. This is not going to be a huge producing site. You're not going to make $17 million your first year. However, you might be able to turn a couple $100,000 a year if you're smart, and you'll have a beautiful piece of just Nowheresville with a whole bunch of cool stuff to look around at, and it's safe, it's nice. I can't say enough good about this. So once again, this is Protector Mine. For more information, for any of the assays that we pulled off the mine, for technical reports, maps, all of that magical stuff that we do way better than anybody else, go visit our website, goldrushexpeditions.com. Give us a call, talk to you, we'll give you all the information you need, and you can be the next one out here that owns this. So, for Gold Rush Expeditions, I'm Corey. We'll see you at the next site. For Gold Rush Expedition, back up, okay. There's not a ton of dumps.
There's not a ton of dumps, no.
Maybe 40, 50 tons?
Maybe 40 to 50 tons of dumps?
I don't know. I'm just saying, you said not a ton. Super cool, super old, super cool, super intriguing, super cool to look at, and super interesting. I love your butt.
I know. Oh, there's a lizard on it. Hello, little lizard.